Hi, my name is Jeanette and I want to thank you for joining me on the channel Jane Reads. So today is just going to be kind of a chatty video to discuss some of my bookish quirks that I know are different from others. Now, some people do share kind of the same opinions as I do when it comes to this kind of thing, but I know that, not always. So I have just been writing down random ones as I think about it or as I talk to my mom or my friends and they make a comment about that they don't read that way as well. So over the last, I want to say probably about 4 months now, I've kind of been making notes and I've come up with 6 bookish quirks is what I'm calling them when it comes to my reading preferences, how I choose what to read, or just the way I keep my books, or the condition of my books, maybe. So basically, the first one I'm going to say relates to series. Now, I have mentioned before on my channel, so if you've watched any other videos, you know that I am a series reader. And I am particular about reading series in order of publication. I cannot pick up a book in the middle of a series. I have to go back and read book 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever, however many it is. Now, there are exceptions to that because if I've read books 1 and 2 6 months ago, a year ago, 2 years ago, I will pick up book 3 and read it. However, I really prefer to read back to back. And usually, now again, this doesn't always happen, I usually like to wait until I know that the series is complete before I read the series when it comes to my favorite authors. So I'm going to kind of get rid of my blanket for a sec. I'm going to kind of look at my shelf here. And for example, I have book 1 of Irene Hannon's Triple Threat series. This is a 3-book series. I have book 2 on order. I haven't received it yet. But book 3 doesn't come out till October. This one came out a year ago, 2 years ago. This one was released in 2020. So 2 years ago. And I have not read it because I am waiting to get books 2 and 3 to actually read it. So even once I receive 2, I will not be reading it until I can get book 3 in my hands. Another one is Unknown Threat by Lynn Blackburn. This is book 1 in a series. Book 2 came out in March. I don't have it yet. It's on my to purchase list, but it's not on my rush to purchase list because book 3 comes out in the spring of 23. So again, I'm waiting to get all 3 to read them. What else do I have? I have another one. Crushing Depths by Danny Petrie. This is book 2 of the series. Now, I do have book 1, The Killing Tide, and I have read it. So as I said, there are exceptions to it. I had read The Killing Tide when it first came out, and then I got book 2, but book 3 was just released, I want to say July, and I haven't got it yet, so I can't read the series till I get my hands on book 3, because I know as soon as I finish this book, I'm going to want to pick up book 3. So those are just 3 examples. Now, as I said, there are exceptions because in August, I read book 1 and book 2 for Lynette Easton's series, Extreme Measures. So book 1 was Life Flight, book 2 was Crossfire, and book 3 doesn't come out until January. But because I had received Crossfire as an advanced reader copy, I went ahead and purchased book 1, read book 2. So when book 3 comes out in January, I will be looking to get it right away because then it will only be 6 months between my span of reading the 2. But if it's been years since I've read, like, I think I read The Killing Tide in 2018, 2019. So once I get my hands on book 3 of that series, I do plan on rereading The Killing Tide so that I can read 1, 2, and 3 back to back. So I'm okay with waiting when I know it's my favorite authors so that I can enjoy them and stay immersed, because majority of the series carry over characters. Even if the storylines don't carry over, a lot of the characters are recurring characters, and I enjoy keeping those fresh in my mind, knowing who they are, what role they played in previous books. So that is definitely probably one of my biggest unpopular quirks. So my second one is I leave the stickers on my books. I might move the stickers, but I do keep them on. So I don't really want to move you, but let's see here. Let's just, okay. These books, for example, Breaker's Reef and Southern Storm. No, River's Edge. This sticker has January 2007 on it. And so it's still there. It's still there. If I Live by Terry Blackstock. This one doesn't have a date on it, but the sticker's there. You can see that. But I've had this for, well, no, actually, I think my mom gave me this, actually, this year. And this is where me and my mom disagree. This is a prime example. My mother read book 2, and then book 3, and then book 1 when she read this series. I'm like, how? Especially this series, because this series is a carryover storyline. I don't understand. She must have been so lost when reading book 2 to like be that first book that she read, but I don't know. We just disagree. Let's see what else. I'm trying to find an older one that I know. Now here's another one. Now this sticker would have been on the front when I got it, but I know that, I mean, it annoys my best friend when she sees the stickers on, especially on the front of the book. So for example, this one, I know I moved it to the back so that I still had it, but she didn't see it. And I mean, for pictures, especially for BookTube, Instagram, all that kind of stuff, it's much nicer to see a full cover, right? Did I take... I took that one off. I know. Yeah, okay. Here's an example. Now, I come by this very honestly because my mother leaves the stickers on the books as well. I'm trying to think, what book did she give me? Or did I take them off? I've moved them. I don't have, I've moved them, so I don't have, but when I get a book from my mom, it still has the sticker on it as well. So I just do that. I like to know kind of how much I paid for it when I got it, or I don't know, or sometimes the stickers have the dates on them. And it's nice to know how long you've had them for. Or, I don't know. I don't have any other reasoning. It's just, I just do. I just don't care enough, I guess, to pick them off. So then, what else? Okay, quirk number 3 is I very rarely use bookmarks, like actual bookmarks. Don't buy me a bookmark because it's just useless to me. I think I have 2 bookmarks that are actual somewhat bookmarks. So I have this one. So it is a promo bookmark from Christy Barrett. So I use this one quite a bit. So I mean, this really is a bookmark. But this one, this is in the book that this is a walk around the block that I've been reading for a while. But I should be done it any day now. So that one's been in there majority of the time. Otherwise, I tend to use kind of the receipt that comes with the book, like when I purchased the book, or I have a friend's little business card, which I think, no. Oh, it's in the book I'm currently reading. But, for example, when I read this book that was gifted to me, I have an Amazon gift receipt. This is what I used. Just every time. And then because I just moved this receipt, over to when I read book 2 of this series, I used this as well. And then I just stuck it back in book 1 when I was done. I don't know. I will use whatever is available. Another prime example. It's a lid for a Tetley tea box. And I've used it as a bookmark. Now, it has been in this book for a while. This I will be talking about as one of my other quirks. So yeah, I just use whatever is available. So I'm going to leave it there. So that is stickers, bookmarks. Okay, might as well talk about this quirk as well. I struggle with DNFing a book. I figure I've started it, I should continue it because maybe it'll get better. Maybe I'll like it more. Maybe, I mean, the author put time in. I purchased the book. Most likely I purchased the book. Let's finish it. This is a prime example, and this is only one of 2 books that I have DNF'd in at least 15 years, at least. And if not, probably more than that, because I can't think of any other books that I've DNF'd. And the second, I've only DNF'd 2. The second book, I just DNF'd in August. And, I mean, that reasoning was a little bit different than when I DNF'd this book. I gave it a good try. Oh, that's funny. This book is... Can't even find the end of it. So many notes at the back. So this book is 407 pages, and I DNF'd it at page 190. So I mean, I'm halfway through the book, and I couldn't do it anymore. It was hurting my head to read it. And the other book that I DNF'd, I just talked about in my August wrap up. And I DNF'd that one for a different reason. But I can't. Once I start something, you gotta finish it, right? But I also read a quote recently in one of the books I was reading, and again, I read this in August and shared it in August. Life is too short to spend on. Life is too short to spend reading books you don't like, or something along that lines. I can't remember the exact quote. I should look it up to kind of remind me that if I'm struggling, just stop it. But I always have hopes that it will get better, or it will be worth my time in the end. So then, quirk number 5. I struggle or get annoyed when a book cover is changed. I don't know. Yeah, I would say annoyed is the word. And I have a couple possibilities about this. Me and my best friend were talking about this just a while ago. Because one of the books that I have read just recently got a recover design recently. I want to say like June, July, like fairly recently. And when I first saw the recover design, I thought, oh, haven't I already read that book? Like that title sounds very familiar. But no, like I don't recognize that cover. And then as I was reading it more, I was like, oh, okay, it's a redesign of a previous published book and that I had read. So I think because I feel like I recognize books by their cover. Yes, I read quite a few books on my Kindle, so I don't see a lot of the covers. Like they're not constantly, like when you're reading a paperback, like the cover's in your face, right? Like every time you close it and stuff. It's not like that on my Kindle. So the cover shouldn't be burned into my head, but it is. And so then when I see a cover I don't recognize with an author's name that I know, I'm kind of like, oh, they've got a new book. Oh. Then I look a bit no, they don't. And honestly, majority of the time, I prefer the old covers. So the cover that I saw recently, the new cover was more of that, oh, what's it called? Kind of the title, and it was an illustrated cover. Whereas the old book is a photo of two people, like a very real cover, like looking cover, as opposed to an illustrated. And I personally prefer the real looking covers much more than the illustrated covers. And there's a few books, like there's another book I can think of that I wish I had physically because I love the book, but when I first read it, it had its original cover. The cover has now been redesigned and the book's being re-released. I don't like the new cover. And it's a people cover, like a person scenery cover, just like the old cover was, but it's different. But I just prefer the old one. And I think it's because as I'm reading it, I get that cover in my head. And so that's the cover that I've associated with the book I've read. So when I see it, well, that wasn't the book I read. I don't know. As I said, just a very random quirk that I have. So then the last one. Once I find an author that I enjoy reading, that's the only author I want to read. Give me all her books. Give me all their books. I always say her because I read a lot of female authors, not a lot of male. So I automatically give me her books. But it really should be their books. Because I do. I will binge a certain author. For example, when I first discovered Lynette Eason, I read every single Lynette Eason book that was out within a 6-month period. And that was the only author I read for those 6 months, basically. When I discovered Shanna Hatfield, exact same thing. I read all I could get my hands on for a period of time, and then I was done and had to find a new author. I just, you find something you like and you just want to read all their works. Now, because I have so many books on my TBR for the last year or so, I've been very good about trying to switch it up and try other authors. And I am discovering a lot of new authors that have quite a bit of a backlist that I could go back and read, but then I wouldn't get to reading a lot of the books I own. So those are just some of my quirks that I have. Do you guys agree with any of the things I've said, or am I just weird? I'd love to chat in the comments below, and if you think of a quirk that you have, let me know, and maybe it's something I do as well and haven't really thought about it. I would love to chat with you in the comments below. Thank you. If you like what you see, please like and subscribe. Have a good day. Bye.